Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and I'm going to try to move this mic so it's a little bit closer right there. There we go. And this is live Q&A. It is December 19th, only 6 days before Christmas. Thanks guys for tuning in. I hope you're having a fantastic week. Lots of busyness going around here. I just finished up our review of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shadows of the Past. You'll see that this week. About to finish up Doom. And a couple other reviews that we're working on. You're going to see other top 10s this week. On Thursday, you'll see our top 10, or maybe it's Friday. It's either Thursday or Friday. You'll see our top 10 surprises of the years. So, just a lot of different things coming up this week. We have videos scheduled all the way to the end of the year. And then after that, of course, we got our fundraiser coming. So, some more stuff working on that 2 weeks away. So, that's exciting. So I'll take some questions from you all. Just ask your questions. Realize I won't answer all of them or even many of them, but I'll try to answer at least the ones I find interesting. So I'll get to those as quickly as I can. Did I see Rogue One yet? I did see it, and I did enjoy it. It was very good. My kids were not as thrilled about it, and I can't really say why without going into spoilers, but if I say spoilers, you can understand. Regarding basically what happens, they had a harder time being more invested in this one than they did in other ones, which I suspect it would be the case. They thought it was good, but I think they liked Episode 7 better. I think I like this one better than Episode 7, especially the scene at the very end was just unbelievably cool. So anyway, if you have more questions in regards to that, maybe you can ping me on Slack. If you're not on Slack yet, that's a live chat thing I'm running. We're testing how that works. I felt like it was time to have a good active, there's some chat rooms out there for board gaming, but there's not very many active ones, so let's just make one. There's already about 70 people in it chatting back and forth and different things. So if you want to be part of our Slack chat, email me at dicetower@gmail.com and just tell me you want to be part of the Slack group, and I will add you in there. Okay, so let's get to some questions here. Trevin says, I thought this was at 6:30. Did I hear wrong? You did not hear wrong, but I put an annotation in the video. I thought I did anyway that said it was actually at 3. Sorry about that. Some other things came up family related. All these top 10 lists are like early Christmas presents. Well, that's good. Then you're getting a lot of Christmas presents. Why don't I give you guys a heads up on what's coming ahead here briefly. Let me see if I can find that. I have it listed somewhere. There's several more top 10s coming. And not just from me. Several of the people from the Dice Tower are doing their own top 10s. Tomorrow, you will see Jason's top 10, which, well, I'm not going to spoil it. But I was surprised at a few of the picks on his top 10 list. I was not surprised at his top 2, but I was surprised at several of the other ones that he had. All right, so let's see what else is coming from the Dice Tower this week. Today is the 19th, so let's slide down there. And I'm just going to talk about top 10s, not about like reviews and stuff. So tomorrow, like I said, is Jason's top 10. I'm also doing a top 10 tomorrow, the top 10 selling games of 2016. Then Wednesday, the top 10 family games of 2016. And Sam is doing his 11 through 20. On Wednesday. On Thursday, there's no top 10, but that's because Board Game Blender goes up Thursday. On Friday, top 10 surprises of 2016. All three of us do that together. And then on Saturday, top 10 party games I'm doing. Then next week, on Tuesday, I'm doing the top 10 innovative games. And next Thursday, I'm doing we're all doing our top 10 gaming experiences. And Rob's doing his top 10 war games. I'll be doing my top 10 small games. And top 10 kid games and top 10 distinctive themes. And that's a lot of top 10s. Maybe we'll take a break from doing top 10s, but probably because we'll be running our fundraiser. Do you bring your kids to see Santa each year? I do not. We do take them to Santa's Enchanted Forest, but that's a completely different thing. In fact, that's where we're going tonight. Santa's Enchanted Forest is a basically it's a fair. Like they have fairs all over the country, but most places they can't have fairs in the winter. Well, they can here in South Florida. So there's a fair. It's in South Miami. It is the big fair with tons of Christmas lights all throughout. I mean, a ton of Christmas lights throughout it. So it's really just fun to go to, not that expensive. And since we're homeschooled, we pick the nights we go on, so we go Monday nights. So we're going tonight. But as for Santa itself, I've never brought my kids up believing in Santa. There's a few reasons for this, and be forewarned here, I don't mean to get critical of anyone else. So if you teach your kids about Santa, that's fantastic. But when I pretend and tell my kids funny pretend stories, I want them to know as I am telling them that the funny pretend story is funny and pretend. I never want to teach them something seriously that they then find out to be a lie. And for me, the correlation is, as a Christian, I'm teaching them to believe in God. And if I teach them about Santa, and then they find out later on that Santa's not real, then they will wonder, well, is God real that my father taught me about? So I feel like it's important to be honest with my kids. Don't get me wrong, I'll joke with them and tell them all kinds of weird stories. And we put money under their pillow for Tooth Fairy, but they know it's not the Tooth Fairy. They know it's Mom and Dad, and it's just a silly story. So I guess we could do the same thing with Santa, right? But I'm not actually saying, kids, there's really a Santa Claus. I don't wish to do that, but I'm not criticizing those who do. That's just something I decided to do. Rogue One made me go home and watch a trilogy again. Yeah, I almost did that myself, except I don't know where that is online for me to watch. That's where I do most of my movie watching, is whatever happens to be online. Who are the people you sought out for advice when you made big decisions, like starting a podcast, going to video, going full-time? Well, I definitely talked to my dad before I went full-time. Whenever I make a huge decision in life, I always talk to my dad. Of course, I talk to my wife. She's the first person I would talk to. And I talked to just various other people, but I didn't talk to a ton. I talked to a few people that you wouldn't know, but people who I knew were in different areas where I thought I might do what they are doing. There was a lot of people I did not talk to about it because I didn't want to make a big deal about it, and I wanted to do it and not hurt feelings because I was leaving a job, and whenever you leave a school, they're never really happy because they have to fill that position again. Did you back Gloomhaven? No, I did not. I don't back most Kickstarters. I backed that virus one, which is from Endemic, which because I really like the computer game. But for the most part, I don't normally back Kickstarter campaigns. I have enough games as it is usually, although I'm very excited to play Gloomhaven. Have you thought about partnering with Geek Nation's Tour? Congrats on the cruise success. Geek Nation's Tour does a fantastic job. But with the cruise, I didn't want to share control of it. I wanted to make the cruise into what my idea of a cruise would be. And that would be, my idea of a cruise was that it was just relaxing and you did stuff and there's not a whole lot of scheduling. And that's what I did. Thank you for all the people who are saying Merry Christmas. Tom, do you think we will be seeing an expansion come out for Terraforming Mars next year? I don't know if we'll see one next year, but I think they'd be crazy not to make one at this point. Is HeroScape an exception to Vasel's law? Well, it could be if it is not ever reprinted. And never say never. But if it isn't reprinted, that would be an exception, and that one is, well, Hasbro sits on the rights, which is pretty powerful, for one thing. But it's also extremely expensive to make all those plastics. But I would not say never. You never know, but we'll see. Why did I do the Slack channel? Because I'm always trying to do different things. And I thought that people would like to chat back and forth with each other in a controlled environment. So it seemed like a fun idea. And we jumped all the way to the bottom again. So, I'm traveling to Florida for the holiday from Canada. Does your gaming group meet over the holidays? Is it possible to join for a day? Is there a schedule? If you're traveling down here and you know that you'll be in South Florida over the holidays, email me, and you never know what we're doing, okay? But I don't know exactly what the schedule is at this point in time. Can we get Jason's top expansion, since he made a big deal about it being a year for expansions? I don't think we'll do that particular list. I know you hate doing live plays, but did you find Time Stories and Pandemic Legacy to be exceptions? Well, we didn't do those live. We recorded those and then posted those later, which is different. It's a lot more work to do it that way, though. In Cosmic Encounter, do you make sure all players choose the same color and difficulty factions? No. That's only how hard that one is to play. It doesn't mean that they're all even or anything. So, I mean, if someone's experienced, they can play red, yellow, green. I usually recommend new players not picking red. Even sometimes I might steer them away from the yellow ones, just because there may be nuances. Although, I forget was it Warrior? No, it wasn't Warrior. I think it was Warpish. Is yellow. Warpish should be green because Warpish is super easy to play. Maybe it's yellow because you always got to watch out for Mobius tubes, which frees everybody from the warp. Who knows? What time does the Indiegogo campaign go live? No. We're still working on it. My favorite character in Rogue One? Oh, probably the robot. The robot was just amazing. But I also liked pairs of people, and so I liked the monk and his guardian, or whatever their names were. I actually did not catch anyone's names, so I really liked that duo. Let's see. Have you played the Arkham Horror LCG yet? Will we get a review from you? No and yes. If you could only eat food from one food group for the rest of your life, which food group would it be? You need to clarify that. Do you mean like breads, fruits, vegetables? I would probably have to pick fruits. I mean, otherwise, or maybe vegetables, I guess. I don't know. Is that what you mean? You mentioned some new battle lore coming out in 2017 on Board Game Breakfast this morning. I did? If I did, I misspoke. New battle lore? I don't think I said that. In Mission Red Planet, can more than one discovery card be placed in the same zone? I don't think so. It's better off if you have rules questions for a game to go to Board Game Geek and post them under the forum there, because those people know the rules for every game back and forth. I recently got a Mysterium and realized that I didn't like the additional rules in the American version. Is there a game where you like the foreign version better than its American counterpart? Oh, the foreign versions are always better. That's that, or is that the movie argument? There probably is, but off the top of my head, I don't know what they are. I never played the original Mysterium. Will there be a top 10 die-hard moments before Christmas? That's the argument that's never going away. In fact, I mentioned it casually at the deacons meeting at our church, and, well, that started another argument over whether Die Hard was a Christmas movie or not. So, it's spreading. Will there be some live games during Christmas break? There might be. I don't hold me to that. I don't know yet. But you're under the assumption that I'm having a Christmas break. So I plan to work all the way through. Could you guys do a board game maintenance segment? Probably, if someone was willing to do that. I don't know how to maintain my games very well. Any thoughts on a streamlined version of Race for the Galaxy called Jump Drive? Is it necessary? I don't know. I'd have to play it and see. I'm suspicious of it, but who knows? Which email do I send a Slack request to? That would be to dicetower@gmail.com. I know you like Christmas carols. Have you ever listened to Weird Al Yankovic's Christmas at Ground Zero? Yes, I like that. The Night Santa Went Crazy, I'm not sure I heard that one, but Christmas at Ground Zero I do like. In fact, I need to add that to my Christmas playlist. What would it take beyond an offer of an entirely free key lime pie to get you back to Grand Con? I would consider coming back to Grand Con You would need to have the Grand Con organizers contact me about that, though. When will info come out on Dice Tower Cruise 2017? In January. We're going to be giving the people who went on the cruise the first shot to sign up. Don't worry, that is not going to fill it up. We're adding more spots, but we don't have all the details done for the cruise yet. Still working on those. In fact, I believe Jason's working on those today, so we'll find out more as time goes by. Love the reviews, but I wish I knew when the games were coming out. Sometimes it seems they don't release for months. Well, yes, that's true, but we don't always know that information either, and if we do know that information, it's often quite wrong. Good evening, Tom. I live in England and was wondering, do you like cheese and crackers? Does anyone not like cheese and crackers? Cheese and crackers is amazing, but I do cheese and crackers differently than most people. You take the crackers, you put them all on a plate, put a little piece of cheese on top of all of them, put it in the microwave, melt that cheese on top. Then you put you put some other garnish on it if possible. For me, a banana pepper, a piece of banana pepper, or a piece of pepperoni, or some ham on top of them, and then a little bit of sauce, whatever I'm in the mood for that day. Maybe some sort of barbecue, maybe some sort of chipotle sauce, Happy Mouth seasoning, maybe a little bit of hot sauce. Maybe sometimes I'm in the mood for sriracha sauce. Whatever I'm in the mood for. Mustard is good, not yellow mustard, but obviously good mustard. But that's good, and I'm not eating those right now because that's not good for me. Do I mean the games that sold the best in 2016? Yes, the games that sold the most. That will be coming out tomorrow. Was there something on the cruise you thought could be improved for next year? Why, no, sir. It was perfect. Well, yes, there are many things that could be improved, and we will work on those to fix them. What do you think about the advent calendar of board games? That's okay. In fact, you saw me open part of it in my Tom's Boring Game Unboxing video. And if I do a sequel to that, you'll see the rest of it. Does Quadropolis play well all player counts? It most certainly does. Will any more of the Dice Tower crew join the Slack channel? That's up to them. They do not have to. This year's advent calendar was good, I thought. Well, I think there's like 5 or 6 promos in there that were really good. The rest were okay, and there's some promos in there for games that nobody has ever played, I think. There's some really, really obscure games in there, I believe. Is there sales data for board games available to the public, like on a website? Not a ton. Hi, Tom. How did you decide that Project Elite be the top board game for you in 2016? It's the one I enjoyed the most, so therefore it was my number one. How much effort is it to find space to hang all the Vasel family stockings? Well, we got a big wall. They're just across the wall. There are 9 stockings, right? No, there are 10 stockings. We all have a stocking. No, I think we have 11 stockings. We all have a stocking. Jimmy has a smaller stocking than everybody else, but he'll probably be upgraded to a big stocking next year. And every once in a while I replace them. They're just all different stockings. No names on them, but everyone knows which one's theirs because it's some funky stocking or whatever. And then we got 2 stockings on our Christmas tree, one for Jack, and one for Sonny. Because we had the Jack stocking up during the Christmas when he was alive, so we always kept it. When you guys do a top 10, I wish you guys discuss the picks a bit more. For me, that's the most fun part. Sometimes you guys just nod and it's hard to tell if you agree or just don't have an opinion. If we don't say anything, we agree or don't have an opinion. And if we talked much more, the videos would be much longer. My mantra at Dice Tower is shorter is better, shorter is better, shorter is better, except for top 10 list. But everything else, I always tell the contributors, I tell everybody, it's better to be shorter than longer. Top 10 lists, try to keep them to be an hour or less. And you'd be amazed at the people who email me and say, I don't have the time for an hour because I need to go watch a 2-hour movie and I can't watch your hour thing, and I don't have time for an hour because I need to play my video game for a couple hours. There's a lot of people who don't have time for an hour in their life. I can't imagine if I went to an hour and a half, for example, how much fewer people would have that in their time in their life. Do you find it's difficult to stay cold of the new when lots of places have lists of mostly anticipated? I know that you said you won't do those lists. I might be talking to mostly anticipated for 2017. It seemed like a lot of people last week said they wanted to do one. My favorite SNL skit? Wow, there's a lot. I've always liked Lunch Lady. I've always liked Cowbell. Need more Cowbell. Those are ones that everyone likes, though, right? Are the ones that I get a huge kick out of that other people don't? Probably, although for the life of me, I'm having a hard time remembering. Well, there's one I always get a really big kick out of, and I use it with Z. It's the one I think Jimmy Smits was in SNL, and everybody not mispronounced, but correctly pronounced all the Spanish words, like Los Angeles, instead of saying just Los Angeles. And you have a burrito, and they were like over pronouncing. And he's like, guys, we don't need to do this. But it was I thought it was a really funny skit, because around here, there's a lot of Spanish cities, like right up north. We have Naranja, which is how it's not supposed to be pronounced, but it just is pronounced that way. So I don't know. I just found that skit funny. Hello to everyone. Will I design another board game? People can keep asking me that. And I don't think I'm ever going to do that. But you never know. Let's see. Would you ever do a quick video for new gamers going over some of the different genres of games with a quick explanation? A worker placement game is this, engine building. We have done that. There's some board game terminology videos, 2 of them that Z and I put together. Is the New Orleans expansion better than the Evasion expansion? Yes, but barely. In the top games of 2016 list, it sounded like 1 or 2 games didn't make the list because it was too late in the year to play it. Well, that's always going to be the case, right? Is there any chance of best games we didn't play in 2016 list in 2017? Possibly, but it's usually just a couple games. We're getting better. It used to be I would make my top 10 list, and then like halfway through next year, I'd have to revise it. Now, for my video list last week, there's already 1 game that's been replaced. That was kind of a surprise, but on our Dice Tower audio podcast, which is going up tomorrow, I have it fixed in that one. And you'll see it's kind of waffly. I'm keeping both games anyway, so it doesn't matter. Have you ever gone skiing? I have not gone skiing. Clank or Hawaii? What game came out in 2016, in your opinion, that didn't get the love it deserved? Well, there's a lot. There's a lot of games that don't get the love they deserve just because there's so many games that come out. So I don't have any specific one. I saw in the cruise vlog that you were about to lead church. Is this something you do often? Yes. Ordained? Yes, I'm actually ordained. I usually, when I go to a convention, I will run a church service there or participate. I have preached at Origins for the last, I don't know, out of the last 10 years, I preached 5 or 6 times. Gen Con I preached last year, but usually I've led the music at Gen Con, so I was able to do that last year. But I've always been involved at Gen Con. I always preached a service at Dice Tower Con. I've done some at other conventions, smaller get-togethers, and then I did one on the cruise. So these, obviously not everyone's going to come to these, not everyone's interested in that, but I just make it available because for me, I always want to do some sort of church service on Sunday, even if I'm away from home. Who at the Dice Tower likes the heaviest games? Well, definitely, obviously, Jason is the highest there. Probably underneath, then it would be me. Between me and Jason is Eric. Eric likes heavier games. And then after that, it depends. If it's a war game, Rob likes those heavier war games. And then right underneath me would be Sam, and then near the bottom would be Z when it comes to how much you like the heavier, more complex games. Going to the first Dice Tower Con, super excited. How will it be for a solo traveler? And how many tickets are left? As a friend has not committed yet and might need some motivation. I don't know how many are left. I know that they are, a majority of them have been sold, I guess. So, yeah, the price is going to go up soon, so I would recommend that he get them before the price goes up. For solo, it's fun. I mean, what you want to do is you want to come in and look for the game. Players want a table, sit down and play a game, buddy, and you might make friends and end up spending time with people as you get there. Someone brought up Terraforming Mars. I was curious of your thoughts on component quality. The quality is a deterrent for me in purchasing it, but if it isn't bad as it looks, I could be swayed. Yeah, Terraforming Mars there's some really good components to it. Like, I really like the cubes. I really like, I think the board is fine. The artwork could be better, and yes, the boards are super thin. I fixed that with an upgrade component. But yeah, I don't think they're bad components, though. I just think they're merely okay. Peanuts Christmas Special or How the Grinch Stole Christmas? I like the Peanuts Christmas Special better. Do you think that Amazon is bad for the gaming industry, or do you think it gives it more exposure? Well, I don't know. I certainly think that people should really stop yelling about cool. There's like all these stores that are like, oh, cool stuff in Miniature Market, and these other online stores are bad, when Amazon is like just destroying everything. I mean, I literally did not go to any toy stores this Christmas to buy games. I didn't. I bought everything on Amazon. I mean, games, toys, or whatever I bought. I mean, clothes, everything. I mean, everything I bought for Christmas this year came from Amazon. It was so much easier. I didn't have to go shopping. I just went click, 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 click. It comes to my house. Amazon Express. It's amazing. In a couple of years, it'll be delivered by drones. So, I was going to mention that in the news this morning. Oh, well. What would be the top 3 haha I won against Jason Levine moments? Oh, man. That's a good list. Can I even make a top 10? I'm moving to Florida. Where in Florida would you recommend? Oh, and I'm excited to have you guys playing my game next year. Okay, well, fine. Where in Florida? I don't know enough about Florida. I love where I live here, but you know what? If I lived somewhere else, I'd probably love it there too. Everyone will tell you that some areas are better than others. I probably wouldn't move to North Miami, but it's great. I don't know. I just like Florida. I probably wouldn't move to the Keys, so you'd be too far away from everybody else. I've not got New Angeles yet. I'm sorry, guys. It just hasn't shown up yet, so I haven't played it. Tom, if there's someone in your game group who plays very slowly to the detriment of everyone else's enjoyment, how would you ask them to play more quickly without being rude? I found that everyone has a different thing, and some people you honestly have to be kind of rude to them to say, your turn is taking longer than everyone else's turn put together, and therefore I'm not going to be able to play this game with you anymore because you're going too slow. It's a tough thing to do, but there are some people that I don't play with very often. I'll play them once in a while, but I won't play them very often because they take a really long time. What's my favorite solo game? Mansions of Madness, 2nd edition. Oh, I shouldn't have answered that because you asked it like 10 times, and you should never ask questions 10 times. Who's doing Rogue One spoilers? I didn't do any Rogue One spoilers. Oh, Rob mentioned Battle Lore. Oh, okay. Sorry. Well, that as far as I know, there's no new information about Battle Lore. If you do ask the same question over and over and over and over and over again, like in a very short time frame, I will put you in timeout for a while. It sounds so so childish on the thing. I like a spoiler review of the new Star Wars film from you guys. We thought about doing that. We think about that every time a big movie comes out. Like, oh, let's review the new Star Wars movie. The problem is we honestly cannot review that movie unless we spoiled it. So maybe a spoiler-filled review of it, I would enjoy doing that. But I don't know how many people would be interested in that. We put it up and there'd probably be 20 viewers. What's the best Christmas gift I've ever given? I don't know that I would know the best one. Tom, love the channel. I'm thinking about going to a game convention next year. Any suggestions on the first one to attend? Dice Tower Cruise? Listen, if you've never been to a game convention before, a cruise is a great way to go. I mean, it really is. You don't have to worry about anything other than getting there. Once you're there, you don't need to worry about food. You don't need to worry about your lodging. I mean, that's all taken care of for you. And then you just go play games and or do other things. It's a very well-rounded vacation. How much room is left in your big geeky box since you have all the expansions? There's still plenty of room left in it. Have you, Sam and Z, all seen Die Hard and the sequels? I've seen the first 4. I've not seen the 5th one. I just never happened. What was the percentage of gaming on the cruise? I think if you mean by gamers, there was 400 gamers on the cruise, and I think the ship was 3,600 people. It was like 1 in 9 people. Well, that was pretty cool, though. And everyone had a red lanyard. So when I'd be walking, I'd see someone with a red lanyard. I'd be like, hey, you know, it'd be cool to see other people. It was just a way. And then we all sat in the same section to eat dinner. So you just sit down and you knew that the people at your table were either gamers or related to gamers. Although, incidentally, almost all the conversation I had at tables was not about games. We're just talking to people and having a good time. Is Melody going to do a top 100 this year? No. Will she do a top 10 of 2016? That's a good idea. I probably should have her do one. I'll talk to her about it. Do you like Trans-Siberian Orchestra for Christmas music? Boy, howdy. Biggest disappointment 2016? That will be listed tomorrow in our show that we post. What's your process to review games? Do you write it all before or just fire the camera and go? No, I don't write anything, but I do sit around and think about it. Whenever I review a game, I always sit and go over the rules one last time. I sit there and I do my intro, I do the rules, and then I think for a while, okay, what am I going to say about this game? Sometimes I'll write things down that I'm going to say about the game because I really enjoy them. What was the game I played recently? Doom. I wrote a lot of notes down as I was playing Doom because there's just so many things to talk about in that game. What do you get a Wookiee for Christmas? Yeah, I do like that song. That's actually, what do you get a Wookiee for Christmas when he already owns a comb? Is the actual full title. Are you going to BGG SpringCon? I'm not going to BGG SpringCon or BGG FallCon. No BGGs for us this year. How close to Disney World do you live? We're about 4 hours away. Do you ever disinfect games if they were handled by a sick person? No, maybe. If they're my kids, I don't know. I don't worry about that stuff too much. So you don't like cheese and crackers, you like nachos and pizza. No, the me melting cheese and crackers taste nothing like pizza. Crackers and nachos are very different things. It's just the fact that I like melted cheese better than non-melted. Although non-melted cheese is fantastic, but there's just something about melting cheese that makes it better. But if you were going to say that me melting cheese onto a cracker with some other garnishes on it is pizza, then you have a very dim view of what pizza is. That saddens me. Saddens me that I even have to say that. What made me decide to go with Indiegogo instead of Kickstarter? Well, that's a good question. We went with Indiegogo. The number one reason over everything else is that Indiegogo talks to me and cares about me, and Kickstarter doesn't give two hoots if we exist, and yet they still will gladly take 10% of all the money we get. Indiegogo is going to work with me and support our show. One thing that really got me to go is that you can go in and support the Dice Tower and then go in and support it again, so we don't need to do add-ons. Like if you want a Dice Tower, you can go through and get it, and then you can go through and get dinner with the Dice Tower at Gen Con or whatever. All those things are possible, and I like that. Also, it takes PayPal. It's a much more friendly type thing, and that's where I'm at. Do you ever have a few alcohol drinks? I have never drunk a drop of alcohol in my life other than NyQuil. So no, I never have a few drinks. I'm not doing the one or the other here. I've not played Santorini yet. I do need to play that. What's the best way to find all the top 10 lists in one consolidated location? We have a playlist, but we're also going to make a best of 2016 playlist, and you'll see that happen this week on the YouTube page. You'll see it at the top probably. How old is Jimmy? He is 2, but he is almost 3. Have I ever done a 24-hour of gaming? I have. Is Airlines Europe just a reskin of Acquire? It is most definitely not. Who gave Jason the R2-D2 dice tower on the cruise? Oh, I remember the guy talked to me, but I don't remember his name. I know that Jason was very excited about it. How do your kids get to be okay with losing games? Because I don't tolerate bad attitudes when they do lose games. I'm very strict about that. You be a good loser and you be a good winner. You got to teach them when they're young, because if you don't teach it when they're young, they're going to grow up being angry when they lose, whatever. And some people get angrier than others when they lose. But just that's what I would do. That is what I do, not what I would do. Sorry, the question zoomed to the bottom again. Someday they will fix this, probably never. Do you play Orleans with all the buildings that have been added from expansions and promos? Most of them. Let's see. How shocked were you when Fantasy Flight and Games Workshop parted ways? Not shocked at all, because it had been telegraphed for a long time. I was shocked more when I found that they were working together way back when. Favorite Marvel Comics storyline is Age of Apocalypse, although Civil War comes really close. Not Civil War 2, Civil War. But I really like Age of Apocalypse. Not Days of Future Past, but there's some really good X-Men storylines too. Well, I guess Age of Apocalypse is an X-Men storyline. Jason and Z hit the nail on the head, which was a good year for expansions and reprints, not so much for original new titles. No, I'm sorry, but they're both, well, actually, Jason doesn't, you'll see Jason's top 10 list. He thinks it's a great year for games too. But they're just left to right. Anyone who says this year doesn't have new original games, are you kidding? Like 1,000 games came out this year. There's some amazingly fun, cool games. I did a top 10. I did a next top 10 of just as really great games. I'm doing a top 10 innovative game list with, I'm sorry. And when people say there's not that many original new titles, you are crazy. You are swimming in a sea of choice. That is insane for people to say there's not that many good games coming out these days. Then you are just not looking, or you're in the wrong hobby, really. I mean, I remember when people used to say, Tom, you need to do more negative reviews. I definitely do more negative reviews. But I am still do more positive reviews than I do negative reviews. If more of my reviews were negative, this would be an awful hobby. I would constantly be playing new games like, oh man, these are bad. No, most of the games are still pretty good. There's a fantastic year for gaming. I'm not saying it's the best year ever, and maybe in retrospect it won't be. For me personally, it's a great year, a lot of great games. But I think that we're like, it's kind of like the cool thing to say, like, oh, I can't believe how many good games came out this year. Are you kidding? You can go up to Board Game Geek right now and just pull up games, list them by Board Game Geek ranking, right? And go through and see game, like probably 300 good games that came out this year. Just I never understand when people get onto these shticks of, oh, it just wasn't a very good year. Yeah, if you want to go back 30 years and say that. Where did the Seven Wonders Duel expansion fall for you? I don't know. I have not played it yet. That's why it wasn't in my top 10 expansions. In your top 10 list, it didn't sound like you liked Innis. I thought it was okay, good, maybe. I need to play it more. I was extremely tired when I played it. So that can have, whenever I'm really tired and play a game and I don't like it, I try to go back and try it again later on, because that could definitely have some effect on it. What game is next for Miami Dice? Well, Doom. Doom will be next. After that, probably Days of Ire, Budapest 1956. Possibly. Have I abandoned Periscope? For the most part. I might do Periscope at some point, but I'm just not really seeing the benefits of Periscope at this point. Hardly anyone is there. It's this live thing. Oh, I'm there in live. Periscope video is just awful. I'm just not a huge fan of it. I'm trying it. I might do some more, but it just doesn't seem to be doing very well. What are the best conventions in Europe excluding Essen? I would not know. The only one I've been to in Europe other than Essen is the UK Gaming Expo. I have to give a gift to my best friend. I'm stuck between two that he will like. Star Trek Fleet Captains or Mechs vs. Minions? Well, that seems pretty simple. Which of those do they like better? Star Wars or fun game? I mean, Star Trek or fun games? Did you entice non-gamers on a cruise to try out some games? It may have happened. I don't know. I didn't personally do it, but possibly other people did. I don't know. Favorite meal on the cruise? Easily was they had some horseradish encrusted, almond encrusted salmon. The first night I think it was. Oh, it was just amazing. And favorite port meal? I don't eat at ports because why would I pay to eat food when I've already paid to eat food on the cruise? I've never understood why you would do that. Is it fair to judge a game on its art? Yes. Even though a game doesn't necessarily have the most aesthetic art, it may have art that's interesting to some people. Sure, but I'm always going to tell you if I think art's garbage. Have you taken the YouTube Creators Academy courses? I don't even know what those are. You once mentioned that you love Robo Rally, but it has been replaced. What's the game that replaced it? Oh, Mechs vs. Minions. But I don't know that it's replaced. I'm just saying that it's kind of replacing it. I still have Robo Rally in my collection. I would look exceptional with long hair. I do not think so. I hate long hair. As soon as it touches my ear, it bugs me. And I cut it as soon as I can. Will there be what will the stretch goals be this year? I don't know at this point in time. Although I do have, we had an interesting idea today that I might go with. Okay, well, let's keep going here. Any fun Christmas plans with extended family friends? But nothing in particular. I'll be making shrimp and sausage meal for Christmas Day and having people over for that. I said there would be a review for the Descent app. I tried looking for it. Did I miss it? I never got around to doing that review. It just got pushed to the side, and app reviews aren't as high of a priority for me. And then I was going to do it. Then I heard they were coming out with a new part to the Descent app, and I was like, oh, I better play that before I do it. And so we're still waiting on that. Does going with Indiegogo mean we will be able to pick and choose and buy only the promos we want instead of having to buy a whole tier full of them? No, it does not mean that. I want to be really clear on that. The whole point of the Indiegogo is that you're backing the Dice Tower. It has never been that it's a store where you can get promos. If we sold all the promos, and I believe at this point there's like 40 to 50 different promos, if we sold them all separately, first of all, we're selling at that point, and I don't want it to be selling. You are getting a gift for backing at a specific level. And if we sold them all separately, first, it is an absolute nightmare. I mean, I got cool stuff helping me send these out. It would be an absolute nightmare to have to pick each person's specific things. It's way better to put them in packs ahead of time, especially number-wise. And then we'd have to say, okay, there's only so many of this one and there's so many of that one. So I put them together. It just works better that way on so many levels. I apologize that I know that you might get promos for games you don't have, but then you might want to go check out those games. Or you can trade those promos with other people for things. So I think it works out well in the long run. But the best thing to go into the Dice Tower fundraisers, say, I am supporting the Dice Tower, and the thing that I get from them is a gift. It is not something that I'm buying like at a store. Do people in the industry disguise themselves as fans and speak negatively about your reviews on YouTube or elsewhere? I don't know. Who cares? Let's see. I meant in comparison decent titles this year just compared to previous years. But again, I'm going to get back up on my soapbox about this. I think most people aren't in my position. Most people don't get a chance to play hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of games a year. You play a few. So you don't know that there's not amazing games that you just haven't played. There's just so many great games. There's so many great games that come out every year. I mean, yes, at some point we got to compare the years. I mean, it's going to be hard for any year to top 2005, 2004 combo. 2012 was an amazing year. 2015, those are the top 4 years probably there. But 2013, 2016, 2014, 2011, those are all really good years. I mean, it's just, there are more games, great games that came out in 2016 than came out in the entire 80s. I mean, a whole decade had less than, probably, if you took all the best 80 games, there's probably less than 1/10 of all the games, good games that came out in 2016. That is unbelievable. There's probably a bunch of war gamers who are throwing chits at the screen right now, like, nah, but it's true. What's the name that you can play as a cave? Is Vast. What game would you buy just for the artwork? I don't know that I would ever buy a game just for the artwork. I don't think I would, but I might. Well, Dixit might come close. Would you consider doing more organized play events besides pitch card, a dice tower setting? Probably not, because I like to have fun. Organized events are a real pain to run. There's a lot of stuff going on with them. And, I mean, we run Wits and Wagers and we do other game shows, but there is just so much going on. You can only run so many events. So I like running pitch card and I like running Wits and Wagers, so those are the ones that I do. They also work really well for a lot of things. A lot of other organized play has to be tournaments, and I'm not a big fan of tournaments at all. All right. Let's see. Only 10 minutes left. Time is going fast today. What happened to the Sonic Boom haircut? Oh, it goes away. It flattens real quickly. I get the flat top, but it's gone in like 3 or 4 days already. Can you talk about price related to Dice Tower Cruise? How much were tickets? Was it a full week? No, it was 4 days. Next year, it's likely going to be a 5-day cruise because of just a lot of different circumstances. Mostly that we can get the gaming room. But last year, I think the cheapest tickets were $500. So comparable to that, maybe next year. Hopefully, we'll see. Can we get T-shirts in this year's fundraiser? No, but the T-shirts are always available on our website. See, one of the things that we're doing with the fundraisers, we're trying to raise money for Dice Tower. You do not raise money selling T-shirts. I sell those T-shirts on the Dice Tower just so people can have Dice Tower T-shirts. They don't raise money. We want to get something that costs us extremely small amount of money and that we then get a big donation for. Because otherwise, for example, the T-shirt, if I'm paying $10 for a T-shirt and we sell them for $15, we make $5 per T-shirt. But when people see the fundraising, let's say I sell 100 T-shirts for $15 each, okay? So that's $1,500. And people are like, wow, Tom made $1,500. Tom did not make $1,500. Tom made $500. And then people's perception. We already have people who constantly complain and say, look how much money the Dice Tower is making. I'm like, no, hang on. You're seeing the income of the Dice Tower. That is not how much someone makes. That income has to be used and spent, and it's always spent. And so because of that, those things like T-shirts just don't work that well. Am I getting my son a Ray action figure for Christmas? No, I don't get him action figures. He likes cars and trucks. And he also plays with the monsters from Arkham Horror. That may not be the best choice. Any guess for the nominations for Spiel des Jahres? Not yet. I don't know what would be in a running. I'll have to sit down as we get a little bit closer and I'll make some guesses, but I'll probably be wrong. Has Deception and Murder in Hong Kong replaced Mysterium for you, or is there room for both? totally replaced it for me. I wasn't the biggest fan of Mysterium anyway, so this was an easy replacement for me. Tom does forget how many war games came out back in the day. Oh, I don't forget. I'm just saying that most of them aren't that good. They really aren't. And even the ones that are good are like for a tiny 1% of gamers, not of the population, but of gamers. Oh, I don't forget how much stuff Avalon Hill churned out with their thing, but most of those games aren't considered great by any means. Do it. Someone make me a list of 100 games from the 80s, and I'm telling you, those bottom 50 games that you've made, you're kind of pushing to put them on the list. And then take war games off that top 100 games list, and you're really struggling at that point. It just is the way it is. Games are better today. I watched the 40 Years of Board Game, and you mentioned you might play Pandemic Legacy with your family. Would you wait till Season 2? No, I've started playing with them already, although we haven't played for a while, so we need to get back into that. Do you expect something good from Saboteur Duel? I don't know. How many of your children are taller than Jason? Well, 3 for sure. Well, 2 for sure, I guess. And 2 are probably the same height as him at this point in time. Ask me a question in 5 years and I'll say, all of them. Thank you for all the people who are saying Merry Christmas, and a very Merry Christmas to you. I'm almost caught up on questions. What does Tom do other than play games? Nothing. That's all I do is play games. There's plenty of things to do. In fact, as I said, I'm going tonight to the fair with my kids. Someone sent me a giant box of cookies from the Dice Tower. That is an amazing thing. And I'm going to be talking more about that later on. But that was super cool. They sent 12 pounds of cookies, which is actually not good, but I'm sharing them, don't worry, including some cookies that are shaped like dice towers. I'm gonna show these to you because they're cool. So, don't worry, I'm still going to be working hard to make sure that I don't put all my weight back on. See that? Dice Tower cookies. That's amazing. They're my favorite viewer right now. Do you go fishing or crabbing? I don't. I've gone fishing before in my life, but I'm a kind of an ADD type, not ADD, but I'm kind of like an active person. And fishing's okay, but I want to do something with my mind. And fishing doesn't even operate my mind. I guess I could read a book. Okay, everyone's just shouting Merry Christmas now. Oh, that scared me. That was just a box lid going down. All right. What's my favorite color? Favorite color is purple, hence the purple shirt. My second favorite color is probably a royal blue. Actually, I like bright colors in general, okay? But if I had to pick one, I'd pick purple. Not a big deal. I like bright colors. I can see if my wife lets me wear this outside. I feel pretty confident the answer is going to be no. So that is what it is. But I look like a young Santa with the overalls and suspenders. Well, these aren't just suspenders. That's all they are. They're big red suspenders. I wore them yesterday because we did our Christmas cantata at our church yesterday, and the choir director said, you got to wear a white shirt with a red tie. Ah, fine. So restrictive. And I said, can't I wear a suit coat? No. I was like, all right. So I wore my red suspenders. And he said, well, you didn't say I couldn't wear suspenders. How else am I supposed to keep my pants up? I don't even own a belt. And then I wore my red shoes too. So I would imagine next year there will be more rules about what you can wear at the cantata or not. The most number of people you've had cry during a game? Well, probably 3. But I have gamed with a lot of kids. So, what are my thoughts on Onitama? If you notice, it says Dice Tower Essentials. I think you should have it in your collection. Are you wearing my Super Mario costume now? Is that for the new Super Mario game for the phone? I said, that's dumb. I played it. I said, it's dumb. I played it again. Then my kids got it, and it's been played a lot, actually. I have not played it as much. Or a firefighter. I don't think I look like a firefighter. I'm pretty sure firefighters have more muscles than these slightly flabby arms. Do you let others choose their color meeples first, or you take purple right away? No, I always let other people choose their colors first. And if someone takes purple, I might be like, well, I would have chosen purple. No, it doesn't matter to me that much what color I am in a game. Although I will say, if purple's in a game and I pick another color, sometimes, doesn't happen often, but sometimes I will accidentally move the wrong pieces because I think I'm purple. You probably won't see any tournaments here on the Dice Tower. Make a house of dice. Actually, I've been buying stuff for us to make. On Christmas Eve, we're going to make gingerbread house, not gingerbread houses, graham cracker houses. You use graham crackers and pretzel sticks, and you can build a big house with tons of icing. Tons of icing and decorations. The kids are going to love it. So we'll do that Christmas Eve. That's a new tradition I'm starting this year. No one has ever flipped a board on me, no. Tom, are you not into tabletop RPGs at all? Just curious because I've asked several times. It's cool. If not, I'm just not sure if I'm getting unlucky getting my question seen or you're purposely passing. No, it's just a question I answer a lot. And the answer is I don't play any tabletop RPGs because I don't have time. I've played them in the past. I quite enjoy them. I'm sure I would love them, but I have to cut something out of my life. So tabletop RPGs are one of those. Why does it take a year to translate the Target expansion? It doesn't take a year to translate Target expansion, but it takes a year sometimes to get things in production. Companies have things in queues for very long periods of time. They like to spread their games out. They don't want to release them all at the same time. And so sometimes that's just the way things go. It's not a high priority. It doesn't take that long to translate, but there are a lot of other production things behind the scenes. If you saw everything behind the scenes with board game production, you'd realize they took a really long time from conception to it landing in the stores. That's just the way things work. And that brings us to 4 o'clock. So that is the end of this Q&A. Once again, I appreciate everybody watching. This is not the last Q&A of the week, though. I believe we'll have Sam and Z, and then maybe all 3 of us doing a Q&A as the week goes by. So we're just trying to keep things going, keep things moving. It's, you know, we're building up steam coming to Christmas and New Year's, but also getting to, you know, our fundraiser that starts in 2 weeks. And I know that I might be talking about that a lot, but I mean to be talking about that a lot because this is basically how we keep the lights on here at the Dice Tower. So anyway, guys, once again, thanks so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching the Dice Tower. Merry Christmas.